Well, for us, CWA is one of the key events of the year in terms of addressing the challenges and exploring the opportunities of the Caribbean. And we appreciate the opportunity that all the important key stakeholders in agriculture come together once a year to discuss the challenges, to evaluate the progress that has been done since the last CWA and chart the way for the next year. So that we see it as a unique opportunity for us to engage in this process. And CTA has always been actively supporting the participation of different stakeholders in this process, making sure that the farmers themselves are represented, the young people are represented, researchers, policymakers, agribusinesses and others, all the stakeholders that are involved in the issues get the opportunity to come together, debate and share their views and ideas and come up with specific actions for follow-up. And the unique aspect of CWA, which we haven't really seen in any other region, is that at the end of the process, the highest levels of government dealing with agriculture, the ministers of agriculture come together and listen to these recommendations, discuss them, and make some specific policy decisions. So this is something that we really would like other regions where we work to actually try to emulate, because, as I said, it's a unique opportunity where you have intense interaction between different stakeholders involved in agriculture. So this year, as in previous years, we brought in several people to look at key challenges facing agriculture, food and nutritional security in the region. So we had a specific workshop looking at climate change, and in that context, how plant genetic resources should be looked at to meet the challenges that climate change is posing to agriculture in the region. We had another workshop looking at youth and rural modernization to see how the youth can be much more engaged in agriculture in the region than they are now. We had another one looking at the potential of exploiting ICTs for agriculture, how you could use mobile phones and the internet, websites and so on to access markets for farmers, or to communicate some advice to farmers from extension. So different applications looking at those issues. We had another workshop talking about how the media can be much more engaged in promoting the value of agriculture, changing the negative image that agriculture has among the youth, for example, how the media could help in raising awareness, in teaching the public, and in sharing information across the region. So all of these recommendations ended up with the ministers who were very happy to discuss them and come up with some action, follow-up actions. So I think this year, like previous years, we had lots of discussions, but what makes this year unique is that there was a lot of emphasis on action. Everyone from participants, the farmers' organizations to the ministers themselves were asking, we need action. We have to stop talking about these things, making policy decisions, and move more into specific actions on the ground that would make a real difference for farmers and for agriculture in the region. So we're very happy that there is a commitment to move forward with specific actions. In the Caribbean, of course, the whole issue of getting more young people into agriculture has been a challenge for many years. The farming population is aging. The average age is about, I think, 55 or 60 of people who are engaged in farming. And of course, when we say agriculture, it's also broader than just farmers, because there are people who work as technicians, as researchers and so on in the whole industry of agriculture. So many young people have been quite less interested in agriculture, and actually even people being engaged or interested in going into agricultural education has been going down. There was a recent study from the University of West Indies, which shows a drop by 7% of people going into agriculture. And more than that, I think people who actually graduate from agriculture, agricultural studies, they go into something else when they graduate. They don't end up working in the agriculture area. So there is a whole challenge of getting young people as interested to take agriculture as a business, to work in different aspects of agriculture. So CTA has recognized this problem, not just for the Caribbean, but for many other countries where we work, in Africa and the Pacific, and we have designed specific programs to help raising awareness about the importance of agriculture, the opportunities that agriculture could provide for young people, the whole area of linking ICTs with agriculture so that young people could use technology to be involved more in agriculture, the whole issue of entrepreneurship and so on. So in this particular CWA context, we brought in young people from different backgrounds, different areas of work to come together and discuss what are the challenges they face in terms of getting into agriculture, and what policy measures could be taken, what investment opportunities could be created so that they can engage more in agriculture. And I must say that the workshop was very lively. We did it in partnership with CAFAN, the Caribbean Farmers Network, and a lot of key ideas and recommendations came out of that discussion. And some of that involves making it easier for young people to get credit, so that they can start businesses, to make it easier for them to access land, because it's sometimes very difficult to do that, and to support them so that they can start a business, and then of course they can go on their own after that. It's not a lack of interest, but it's a high risk that getting into agriculture entails. That's a deterrent for many young people from getting into agriculture. So I think we had a very good set of ideas, recommendations, which were presented to the Alliance of the Ministers of Agriculture, and they were quite committed to supporting that action in the future. CTA were of course very pleased that officials at the highest government level acknowledged CTA's contribution to the success of the CWA in general, including in previous years. The Prime Minister, Dr. Baldwin Spencer, he specifically mentioned CTA's sterling contribution to CWA, and we appreciate that very much, because the governments acknowledge our contribution to the success of CWA. Of course, it's in partnership with many other organizations that we could achieve this. In terms of organization of the CWA in the future, we are also pleased that the Alliance of the Ministers of Agriculture decided to officially invite CTA as a member of the steering committee. In the past, we have been working from the outside. We are not directly responsible for planning the event and organizing the event. We are of course fully committed in supporting it, but now being a member of the steering committee will enable us to plan from early on, and to also contribute to the specific objectives and expected outcomes of future CWA events. So I think acknowledging that and officially inviting us to be a member of the steering committee is an important step for us, and we really appreciate that.